The proverb says that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So, what about a video? Today, we propose you to view a small selection of images taken by cameras, but beware, not just any images. These are indeed the best sequences recorded by surveillance cameras. Whether they are funny, shocking, or simply surprising images, we have selected the best in the field. Are you ready? Then let's get started. We can never say enough. Alcohol is to be consumed with moderation. And of course, only when you are of age, obviously. And even when we respect these two unavoidable rules, we don't often remain in control of our faculties. These two people, for example, seem to have forgotten this commandment and have obviously gone hard on the bottle. These images, recorded in London, England, show two young women returning from a drunken evening, who are about to cross the path of a poor pizza delivery man. The latter will have the painful experience of pickpocketing. Lacking vigilance, the man left his pizzas in the trunk of his scooter while he went to the restaurant to pick up the rest of his orders. Unfortunately, he had forgotten that the world was swarming with pizza hunters and that you are never safe from two, slightly, drunk and particularly hungry young women. They took advantage of the delivery man's absence to help themselves directly from the scooter's trunk and thus steal a good pizza, or almost. Cats are malicious, mischievous, and sometimes sneaky little creatures. And nothing proves this better than the images you are about to see now. This family realized one day that some things were disappearing and couldn't explain it. Clothes, children's toys. Everything was being snatched from the void for no apparent reason. At first, they had thought of a burglar, but this lead did not hold up because there was no sign of a crime in the house, especially since this problem was becoming more and more frequent. Intrigued by this inexplicable phenomenon, the family had the presence of mind to approach their neighbors and ask them to look at the surveillance cameras that were placed in front of their front porch. To their surprise, they discovered that the burglar was in fact a small tomcat. And yes, their neighbor's cat was stealing stuffed toys, clothes, and other personal belongings every day and throwing them under the kitchen table. The one who calls himself Dennis the Menace managed to steal a total of 100 items from his neighbor's garden in the space of 18 months. As a result, when the owners are not there, the cat. And if you like this video, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all notifications and not miss out on any of our upcoming content. Let's go again. When we learn to drive, we are first taught to release the handbrake and then to tighten it, so that one day our car will not end up in a ravine. Or here, in the harbor in the middle of the boats. This surveillance video placed in front of a marina once filmed an incredible sequence. A man came to the park in the parking lot, but obviously, in too much of a hurry to find his friends, he got out of his car without applying the handbrake. It was only when they were hugging each other that one of them noticed that the car was backing up on its own and getting closer and closer to the water. In a mad dash back to the car, the man rushed to the door handle, which was, of course, locked, in a desperate attempt to get inside. But to no avail. The vehicle ends up tipping over and plunging into the water, under the sorry gaze of the car owner's two friends. Who do you think will walk home? Here is the most honest thief in the world. No, you're not dreaming, we did say, honest. These images recorded by the surveillance camera of a gas station are hallucinating and yet very real. The story takes place in Palm Beach, Florida, when at 4 a.m., a man breaks into the parking lot of a gas station and grabs a car. The robbery occurred when the owner of the car had left the engine running while she was shopping inside the store. The thief quickly grabbed the car and drove for about 9 kilometers. Except for that big problem on board. The man realized in the middle of the escape that a baby was strapped in his car seat behind him. Panicked, the nice thief stopped at another gas station to drop off the baby and leave. That was it. Because he has a minimum of conscience anyway. Andy Stewart Bishop, a resident of Virginia, receives one day a movement alert from her entrance intercom. Thinking at first that it was a friend or a delivery man, she still takes the trouble to check the intercom screen. And then she is shocked. She discovers a snake more than 2 meters long on her doorstep. The craziest part of the story is that Andy had recently had this new intercom installed to increase the security of her home. But she didn't expect a reptile of this size to be the first visitor to test the alarm. According to her, the snake was targeting a bird's nest that had settled behind the shutters on the second floor of the house. Since this misadventure, the young woman has been scared to death of going out the front door. Fortunately, there are windows. Well, at least the positive side of the story is that its security system works wonders. Let's look on the bright side after all. How to celebrate your retirement with dignity. You have a choice: a drunken evening with colleagues, a good spa weekend and the relaxing evening that goes with it, a nice party at the office, but this American sheriff decided to celebrate it in a completely different way. In El Paso County, Colorado Springs, Tony Sherb, a recently retired sheriff's deputy, made a buzz when he left his job for the last time. And it was only natural that he decided to celebrate the end of his career by performing a boisterous little dance in the elevator to the rhythmic notes of the song, Watch Me. Very quickly, Tony Sherb is joined by several colleagues who also take the elevator and dance with him to wish him a good start after 29 years of service. The elevator quickly turns into a dance floor and the police officers in turn let themselves be swept along by the music, even when their superiors join them. The video that has been viewed more than 12 million times on YouTube is obviously a great staging, but so much fun to watch at the same time. Forget granny cakes, here comes a granny who's knocked out. This old British woman living in Northampton, England, has become a real phenomenon on the English web since she foiled a jewelry store robbery with her little handbag as her only tool of persuasion. No, this is no joke. The story seems to come straight out of a children's cartoon, and yet it's real. It all starts on a Monday morning around 9:30 a.m., in the southeast of the United Kingdom. 6 men with faces masked by motorcycle helmets arrive in a fury at the corner of Gold Street and Bridge Street in front of the famous Michael Jones jewelry store. 3 members of the gang begin to attack the store window with a mass assault, while their accomplices wait on 3 motorcycles ready to start. In a panic, the bank's staff activated the security iron curtain, but one of the thieves still managed to break the glass and loot the stalls. Then an old lady appears from the other end of the street, as if by magic. Yes, we did say, old lady. Wrapped in her red coat and her big scarf, the grandmother, armed with her trusty little bag, comes running across the street. She strikes a vigorous blow from her purse at one of the scooter riders, then goes towards the looter and attacks him in turn. The latter, distracted by the blows, immediately moves away from the window. Super Granny then attacks the 2 other thieves who flee towards their scooters. Determined, the grandmother gives a blow to the motorcyclist closest to her, who, very surprised by the situation, accelerates, causing his passenger to fall from behind. It is only then that the grandmother is joined by the passers-by who didn't dare to intervene until then. The latter then lend her a hand by immobilizing the thief on the ground, while the heroine starts to collect the jewels that have fallen to the ground in the altercation. The Super Granny, as she is known in England, insisted on remaining anonymous after this exceptional event. Her act of bravery was recorded by one of the passers-by and the video quickly went around the world. It is now the perfect proof that superheroes don't only exist on television. You may come across all kinds of thieves in your life. Violent, daring, discreet, but this one is really crazy. The footage from this surveillance camera comes straight from Birmingham, in Vestavia Hills, Alabama, to the home of Danielle Yancey. The reality TV star who plays in the show, Jersey Belle, shocked by what her camera recorded, decided to share the video on her Facebook page. The footage shows a completely naked man, except for a Ronald Reagan mask, crawling on the porch of his house on New Year's Eve around 11 p.m. It's as if he really had nothing else to do that night. Danielle Yancey said her husband spotted the peeping Tom and chased him, but the man ran away from the house and could not be caught. The police tried to get a hold of him but to no avail. What a pity. We would just like to know why he was naked with a mask of the 40th President of the United States on his head. Here's another one who's had a bit too much to drink. These images from surveillance cameras come straight from the basement of a London subway. We have all gone down the stairs at least once in an unconventional way. There is the descent of the hurry, the descent of the walker, the sportive descent, and there is the descent of the drunk. And I promise you, this one is by far the funniest. The man you see there was expelled most beautifully from a theater award ceremony, a little too much watered down. In these images, he was leaving the Savoy Hotel in central London and heading towards the subway entrance. As he descended the stairs, he was caught in the emptiness, probably thinking that the steps were made of sponge. The funny thing is that once at the bottom of the stairs, the man gets up as if nothing had happened and lets himself fall down the second set of stairs again, diving headfirst. Some antics that definitely don't match his 3-piece suit and his serious appearance as a serious man. Once his antics are over, the man gets up, dusts himself off, wipes the blood from his head, and goes home, the most normal thing in the world. How can we not talk about hidden camera footage when talking about the most hilarious videos ever? So, let's end our selection with a sequence from New Zealand's super short comedy. The hidden camera team decided to trap men in a clothing store. Once installed in the locker room to try on the chosen pieces, the prankster team transforms the store into a women's locker room in just a few seconds, with the added bonus of a nice little skewer of sexy women dressed in towels. No need to describe the shocked faces of these poor men once they leave the fitting room. If normally, being in front of beautiful, almost naked women is not the most unpleasant thing, this time it was very different. Absolutely hilarious. Look. So, what do you think of these 10 surveillance camera recordings? Tell us which one you liked the most in the comments.